Solution 2, okay? I want to do some questions, okay? I just want to do some questions. Okay, I will ask a question about calculating noise pollution, okay? So we still have some questions to practice. Okay, first of all, okay, this is from textbook. So this formula shows you the I stand for sound intensity, and W is sound power, A is area, okay? So use this formula to calculate sound intensity, okay? So PRAMS. So this means the room mean square sound pressure in Pascal. Okay, so the sound intensity is also related to, so here tells us the sound intensity is also related to sound pressures. Just underline this. Okay? Intensity is also related to sound pressure, as I mentioned in my PowerPoint slide previously. This is from textbook. Okay? As I mentioned many times, you need to read textbook. Okay? Most of the questions will come from either my PowerPoint slide or the textbook. Okay? Or the textbook. Okay? So it's in the PRMS is root mean square sound pressure in Pascal. Don't forget about square here. Okay? And though it's density of medium, C is the speed of sound. C is the speed of sound. Okay? And C can also be calculated by using this formula. 20.05 root square temperature. And temperature must in Kelvin. Okay? Temperature must be in Kelvin, not Celsius. The temperature must in Kelvin. Okay? Okay, so this is another formula. Okay, this formula shows you, so this is the sound level. Okay, what is this? 0.0002 Pascal. So this is the faintest, 最微弱的 the faintest sound. So this is the faintest sound. You'll hear the faintest sound. The normal healthy people, human being can hear. Okay, this is the faintest sound we human being can hear. Okay, so the rocket is about 200 Pascal. Okay, so LO prompt is the sound level in bar. You can put sound here. So this is the formula to calculate sound level. So Q is the measure value. Q naught is the reference quantity. And we take in log. The best is 10. The best 10. And decibel, dB, just divided by 10, right? So divided by 10. Okay? And how about this one? 15.9. So this is sound power level, LW. This is sound power level. So the W here is some power. It's the some power. And what is the 10 to the negative 12? This is reference some power. Here, right? This is reference. This is reference some power. Okay, so this is some power level. Okay? And question 15-10, this is some intensity level. Some intensity level. And this 10 to the negative 12, right? This is the reference sun intensity. And LP here is some pressure level. Some pressure level. Most some meters. So this is good for some meter. Okay, some meters look like this. Okay, the some meters. So most some meters measures some pressures. Most some meters measures some pressures. Okay, so that's the reason we also need to know how to calculate the some pressure level LP. Okay, so it's 10 log square here. Okay, if you move square to here, it becomes 20. Okay, they are the same. Okay, sorry about that. Student actually 15-1, 15-11 and 15-12. Actually, they are the same. It just moved this 2 to here, become 20. Understand? 10 to log f squared become 20 log x. Okay? 10 to log s squared. This is high school math. And 20 micropascal. This is reference pressure. This is reference pressure here. Okay? One last question. Okay, one last question. One last formula. So averaging some level, some pressure level, you just add everything up. Okay, and divide it by them. Understand? Okay, let's do this question. Okay, let's do this question, then you understand. Okay, this from textbook. Compute means calculate. Okay, calculate the mean sun level here. Averaging means mean. Okay, mean sun level. Mean means average. Mean sun level from the following 4 readings: 38, 51, 68, 78. Okay. It's not elementary math. So don't just 38 plus 51 plus 68 plus 78. It's impossible. So student can do. It's like this. The 20, remember 20 20 is the reference. 20 is the reference pressure. Right? Here. 20 is the reference pressure. Okay, 20 is the reference pressure. So divided by 20. So think about 1 to 4 is this value. So the mean sound level, 20 log, 1.09 times 10 to 4 divided by 4. So the answer will be 69 dBA. 69 dBA. Okay, and I mentioned this previously, right? So just practice, okay, just practice. Okay, so for example like this one, okay? Subtract, okay? So it's 60 minus 53, right? 60 minus 53, so 7 years with respect to 1. So it's gonna be 60 minus 1. So the answer will be 59 decibel. So not just addition, we can also do subtraction. We can also do subtraction. So 60 dB minus 53 dB become 59 dB. Understand? 16 dB minus 53 dB become 59 dB. Everyone gets that? So it's impossible to be 7 dB. Their delta is 7 dB for sure, but you need to use this formula. Use this graph to find out the 7 dB is with respect to 1, right? So the answer will be 59. 59. So what kind of situation we want to use subtraction? For example, we have signal plus noise. Okay, so we want to subtract the noise. Okay, so the signal is 60 dB, right? The noise is 53 dB. So we want to subtract. We want to subtract noise. Understand? What kind of situation we want to subtract the sound level? For example, like noise. Okay, like this noise, right? So for example, I produce, okay, with this microphone, I produce 16 dB. And the contraction sound produce 53 dB. So actually, I only produce 59 dB. Understand? Student, do you understand what I'm talking about here? If you understand, please raise your hand. Okay, let's do one more question. Okay, what sound power level result from combining? So it's fine to do 2, right? How about I have 3? Okay, so there are 2 ways. You can do, student, you can use this graph. You can do 6, for example, you can do 68, student, take a look here. If we don't use formula, can we use graph to find out? So all the students, please take a look here. You can add 68 and 75 together first. and produce 7.5.8, right? Then use 75.8 plus 79 become 80.7. Student, do you understand what I'm talking about here? Student, you can add 68 plus 69 first. This two become 65.8 from this graph, right? I will provide this graph to you, okay? And then 65.8 plus 65, then this becomes, oh, I'm sorry, 65. Then 65.9 plus 69, then this becomes 80.7. Understand? So, if in the final exam, I give you A, B, C, D, then you don't need to worry. A plus B first become this. This plus C becomes squared. Squared plus D, then you got an answer. Okay? Use the graph. Okay? Besides using a graph, you can use formula. You can use this formula. Okay? Remember to bring your calculator. Okay? So next week, the final will be next week. Okay? Okay, the rest of it is easy. Okay, please read by yourself. Okay, we need to go over one more step. Okay, student, please open this one. The Harvest West Introduction. Okay? Okay, student. So, dioxin, the first dioxin. Student, all of this are dioxins. All of these are dioxin. But this one, not this one. All of these are dioxin, and this one is the most common one. But the rest of them still classified as dioxin. The most common one is this guy. Okay, the most common one, and also probably the most toxic. Okay, as I mentioned, you cannot just use normal temperature to burn it. You need to burn it over 700 degrees Celsius. Okay, and preferably 850. At least 700, but better 850. 850 will be better. Okay? Understand? Okay, and I think this is very easy for you to understand. The birth defects in newborns. Okay, the birth effect in newborn. 新生儿位缺陷，大药型。Okay, skin disorder. Okay, and this is the most common one. This is the most common one. And this is PCBS. This is structure for PCBS. This dye can cause cancer. Okay? So you can cause some healthy effect like this. caused by PCBS. So this is the structure of PCB. Okay, the most important part is I'm going to talk about this. Sometimes we see those labels, right? We see those labels, but we don't know what are those. Okay, so I want to talk about this. Okay, the first one, if you see F, the F west. The F west means this west from non-specific source. 不知道从哪里来 from non-specific source. Okay, it might come from many different industry. So we call this F west. Understand? I think the rest of part you can read over by yourself. It's not very difficult. But I want to mention this. This is very important. Because sometimes you saw those labels, right? But you have no ideas what those labels are, right? So F west means this kind of west come from non-specific source. So it might come from many different industries. The kind west come from specific sources. Okay, for example, come from wood preserving west. Okay, then you know this might come from the wooding factory, right? So K west means they come from the specific source. They come from specific source. Okay. Next one, the P west. P west are unused. P west are unused. 还没有用。P west are unused. All on spec. All specifications, products, and intermediate. And if you see P west, you must be careful because P west is very toxic, actually toxic. So if you see P here, the P west is very accurately toxic. And it's new. It's unused. Okay? U west are also unused. Are also unused and also on spec. Okay? But they are generally toxic, not accurate, so generally toxic. So that means less toxic than P. So the toxicity P larger than U. Okay, but still very toxic. For example, like DDT, pesticide. Okay, so you must be careful of P west. If you see a west and it got a label say P west, then you must be very, very careful. Understand? Okay, all of us are chemical engineers. Okay, we might encounter this kind of west one day. Okay. Okay, I might ask this in multiple choice. Okay, F west from non-specific, 没有特定的地点。K from specific. P is very toxic. U is generally toxic, still toxic, but less toxic than P. Oh, okay, next one. Immutabilities. So this means easily, how easily to catch fire. Can easily catch fire. Can easily catch fire. Okay, so normally they will show you this flash points. Okay, if flash point below 60 degrees Celsius, don't put this west under this kind of temperature. It will burn. Okay? So they are, so in other words, they are friendable. They are friendable. Okay, they are friendable. Eniable. Eniable means they are friendable. Okay? They are oxidizer. Those chemicals, okay, if you see this, those chemicals can be burned easily. Corrosivity, that means they can corrode or damage. Damaged tissue. So if you touch this chemical, then go back home. Then you will see, how come my bone is here? Where is my meat and skin? Your meat and skin, your flesh and skin will be gone. Okay? For those chemicals, pH value small or equal than 2. So those are very acid. Very acidic. Or large or equal than 12.5. That means they are very what? Basic. Highly basic. If you touch it, you need to use water to flash. Otherwise, it will eat your fractured meats. You will see your bone immediately. Okay? They can even corrode. They can even corrode steel. They can even corrode steel. Why not corrode your fractured meat? Okay? Reactivity. Reactivity means this kind of chemical is very chemically unstable. Okay? They might react violently with water, might expose, might form explosive materials. Okay? Toxicity. Okay, everyone knows toxicity. Okay? So, that means this kind of harmful can reach out from the west. So you need to wear the mask. Okay, when you operate those toxic chemicals. Okay, last slide. Do you guys know about cradle? Cradle means the bed for baby. 摇篮. Okay, cradle. The baby is here, right? This is cradle. Okay, and you might know grave, right? Grave. Can I put Stone's name here? No, just kidding. Grave. You know grave? Grave. Grave. Okay, so I didn't mention about RCI. Okay, still sorry, I need to go back to talk about the RCI. Okay, here. Student, take a look here. So, RCRA stands for Resource Conservation and Recovery Act. The act here is law. Okay. In the British law in the United States, okay, the act, student, the act here means law or regulations. Okay, so RCRA is a law. It's a law. Okay, established, legislated in 1976. 1976. And this law is special for Hazardous Waste. This law is special for hazardous waste. Okay, so it's going to regulate the facility starting from generation. So generation is cradle. Like baby, right? Generation is cradle. Understand? Everyone listen up, please. I'm going to finish this, okay? After that, you can talk anytime. Generation is cradle, like a baby's back. From generation, just for teenager, right? Adult, tree, and stop when you get old, right? Dispose. So dispose is grave. Understand? So radar is a law. You call act because in British American law they use act. Sometimes they use act as law or regulations. Okay, so why we call this from cradle to grave? Because generation is cradle, dispose is grave. HW is their homework. What's HW? Solo chain. HW is homework, right? HW is head count homework. How to generate your homework and how to dispose your homework. Not funny. HW is others. It's hazardous waste. Okay? HW is not homework. It's hazardous waste. Okay? Okay. Then now we know rate card, right? Okay, so rate card. RARA is the law. RARA is the law. So it required to check. Check means to follow. To follow and monitor. To follow and monitor the hazardous waste, HW, from the source of generation, cradle, right? This is cradle, to ultimate disposal, grave. Okay? So even you are just a generator, you still need to maintain the record. And if you happen some tragedy, accidents, you producer still have responsibility for this. Understand? Okay, even if happen some accidents, some tragedies, manufacturers still have responsibility for this accident. Understand? So we call this from grave, from cradle to grave for this hazardous waste. Okay? And there's another one, very similar. This one. Certiorari. This is not a law. Okay, this is the funding. This is the super fund. This is money. This is funding. Okay, super fund. Certiorari is the funding. Okay, the funding to fund the facility. Okay, the funding to fund the facility or agency to take care of the hazardous waste. Okay, CESARA is the funding, super fund, it's money. Okay, it's money, it's the funding. Okay, and RARA is the law. RARA is the law. Understand? Everyone okay? Okay. Let's read over it. I think this is not very difficult. Okay. Finally, we finish. Okay. So, very rush. Okay. Okay. So next week. Okay, next week, please don't come here. Okay, next week, everyone listen up. Next week, please don't come here. The final exam. So next week is US law, right? Okay, next week is June 4th. Okay, this is going to be the final exam. Starting from 1:20 to 4:30, is that okay? Because you don't need to come here, okay? You don't need to worry about shadow. Okay, so it's in IB 501. Okay, in IP 501 on our main campus. Okay, I'm sorry, let me use Mandarin. 下礼拜四不要跑来这边哦。下礼拜四不要跑来这边哦，是在那个本校本部考，在 IB 501。OK 吗？那个 OK， 你帮我拍一下，然后上传到我们的那个 line。 Please take a photo and post to our online group. So the final exam will be held on June 4th, starting from 1:20 to 4:30. It's going to be open book. Okay, please bring calculator. But no iPad, no except calculator. You cannot bring any electronic device. No other electronic device. If you bring any electronic device, you will consider as cheat. Okay, you will get it. Okay, only calculator. Calculator only. And all the paper-based reference, all kinds of paper-based reference you can bring. Okay, you can bring all kinds of paper-based reference. Understand? Okay, so the exam will be covered from Chapter 0 for our PowerPoint slide. Chapter 1 in our PowerPoint slide. Chapter 2 in our PowerPoint slide. Okay? Do we have chapter 2? No. We only have chapter 0 and chapter 1, right? Do we have chapter 2? Yes, right? Do we have this? Do you have this? What's wrong with this? I think I mentioned this, right? So chapter 0, chapter 1, chapter 2, probably not chapter 3. Okay, not chapter 3. Chapter 9 in our textbook. Chapter 9 in our textbook. Chapter 10, noise pollution in our textbook. Chapter 11, chapter 12. Okay? You see that it's chapter 13 because in the past we have 18 weeks. Okay? So starting from 2 years ago, we only have 16 weeks. So we don't have enough time to finish chapter 13 and chapter 14. Okay? So until chapter 12. Everyone okay? So chapter 0, 1, 2. Okay, but this is not from textbook. This is for PowerPoint slide. Chapter 9, 10, 11, 12 in textbook. Okay? Everyone okay? 等一下一起拍，然后帮我听上去。Okay, so what I'm going to test, I'm going to have 20% multiple choice. Okay? Maybe 40%, maybe, I'm not so sure. 80%. I'm going to have some calculations and some free response. Okay, some calculations, some free response. For example, I will ask a case study. For example, like, okay, I have this situation. Okay, I have this situation. Use your knowledge. Okay, use what you learn in this course to fix this problem. 会有一个 case study 说，我现在有一个这个污染的问题，你帮我设计如何去解决这个污染，写得越好，分数越高。So there's no exact solution for the case study. The more well you write, the higher mark you get. Understand? Okay, so there's gonna be one. Probably I will put like 15% or even 20% for the case study. Okay, use the analogy you learn. Understand? Okay, any questions? Any questions? Student, any questions? Okay, please take a photo and post this to Moodle. Okay, not Moodle, to online group. Okay, remember, don't come here. Don't come, next week, don't come here and cry. So, oh, there's nobody here. I'm gonna cry.